Hi everybody. I just wanted to do a short video today about winter swimming and some of the benefits to putting your body in ice cold water. Let me just start out by saying that if it seems crazy to you to get into freezing water during the winter, you're not alone. I felt the exact same way. 5 years ago, I moved to Denmark, and one day, this time of year, I was sitting on the beach with my daughter, looking out into sea, and all of a sudden a family came up. We were all bundled up, with scarves and gloves and thick coats. And all of a sudden a family shows up, and the husband gets out, strips down, and gets into the water. And I remember thinking at the time, oh my God, these Danes are crazy. Who does this time of year? The wind was howling. We're right there in the sea. The sea had this icy gray look to it. And you think, it's like the last thing you would think of to get into the water, like so not inviting. So I remember having that reaction and thinking, oh my gosh, that's so insane. I could never, ever do that. And then, of course, living in Denmark by the sea, a lot of people do this. That was my first experience with it. But you start talking to people who do it regularly. And then COVID hit, and I was taking a swim class, and my swimming teacher was posting online how she and a couple of the ladies were swimming in the ocean. And they were having a blast and posting their videos. And I thought, oh gosh, I do miss my swim class. I miss my teacher. And so I contacted her, and she said, come join us, come join us. So I thought, okay, I was intrigued, even though I said, a couple years prior that was completely crazy and I could never do it because I'm somebody who was always cold. I had a hard time getting into the pool, let alone cold water in the ocean. But I gave it a try. And of course, you show up and strip down, because that's the other thing in Denmark. These ladies were doing it completely naked. But anyways, I had my first experience with the dip, and I got out of the water thinking, oh my gosh, but I feel warm. I actually felt warm getting out of the water. And then the rest of the day, I had this sort of buzz, like I don't know how to explain it, but like this a chill, but a buzz. I felt happy. I felt excited. I was proud that I had done it. And yeah, that was my first experience. And then I went on from there to do swims and more dipping and crazy dipping in the middle of winter and into the ice. And yeah, so I just wanted to put the video out there to say, if I can do it, complete novice that thought it was completely crazy, you can do it. And the benefits are amazing. If you go online and do a bit of research about the hormone benefits, the dopamine, the endorphins, the glucose regulation that happens from cold water therapy, the brown fat that we produce. I don't want to do a video on all of that because there's so much information online that you can find. But if you aren't convinced, do some research. And if you are convinced and you're intrigued and you think, I would love to do it, but I just don't know how to get started, well, that's what I want to talk about. So short and sweet, I just have a few tips. My first tip is to try to find a swimming group near you. There are swimming groups. I just recently read in a winter swimming book, there are groups throughout the world, in China, in France, in the US, in England, everywhere. It's becoming more and more popular, and there's a high chance that somebody in your area is also interested in doing it. So it makes a huge difference to do it with someone else. If you can get a group, there's these polar bear groups in the UK, and yeah, and of course in the Nordic countries there's plenty. Even when I moved here to Norway, I at first didn't hear of any groups, but the longer I've been here, the more I've heard of different groups. So find somebody to do it with. It makes a huge difference. They give you tips. They kind of motivate you to get in the water in the first place, because if you're like me, sometimes that little push is really what you need to get started. And yeah, and for safety and just to be there afterwards for a good chat, fantastic. So find a group. Second of all is, once you get to the water, don't hesitate. Get your body into the water. For me, that made a huge difference. If I And everybody's different. But in my experience, I have not seen in the winter swimmers, I don't see them get in like one leg at a time, hesitatingly up to your waist, up to your neck. No, forget about it. Just get yourself in the water. I always said, I'll get myself in the water and then I'll deal with it. And you're not going to die. You're not, I mean, it's better to just get in the water and breathe. So, what you want to do when you get in the water is breathe. Remember to breathe and wait about 30 seconds or so. And then that cold shock that you're going to feel will subside. And you'll feel this wonderful feeling of your body sort of relaxes and accepts the situation. And you think, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. I can do this. But it takes that first 30 seconds to get over where you're not hyperventilating, but you're breathing heavily because your body is thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in a fight or flight situation. That's totally normal. Just breathe. Just breathe. So yeah, if you can get over that, and at the same time, don't put pressure on yourself. So if the first time you can't wait that long, you get in and you get out immediately, it's totally fine. Second time, there's always going to be a second experience or a third experience. So don't have any expectations, and each day is different. So listen to your body and just do what you feel and enjoy the nature around you. If you're somewhere, luckily, where you get into the water, it's a lake or an ocean. I mean, it's part of the experience also that you are in nature and you can observe the beauty of nature. Or if you're in a friend's pool, just relish and think about your experience that you're having with your friend and how wonderful it is to feel your body in that, react to that challenge. So that's my second tip. Third tip would be to, okay, once you get out of the water, take off everything that's wet immediately. Surprisingly, in the winter months, you actually will feel warm when you get out of the water, which is crazy. I remember being very surprised by this. It was really cold. You might have serious wind, and you get out of this cold water and you think, oh, I don't even feel cold. That's normal. But you need to quickly, while you're not feeling cold, get into warm clothing. So put on warm woolen socks, warm clothing, jumpsuit, whatever you have, a nice thick warm coat, hat, gloves, everything. And then make sure that you have a warm drink on hand and you drink something warm as soon as possible. And that is to counteract the aftershock that you feel. The aftershock is when you get into the cold water, all of your warm blood will go immediately to your organs to preserve your organs. And so when you get out of the water, then it does the reverse, and all of that warm blood that's in your core then goes out to your extremities. And when that happens, your core is left without as much warm blood, and so you start to shiver and you feel this afterdrop. And so that's what you want to do. You want to get dressed before the afterdrop sets in. Have something warm to drink. And yeah, a lot of the ladies were having cookies, drinking something warm, having a chat, and then we would all go home. So there it is. Oh, and my fourth tip, last tip, is that don't hesitate to put a hat on when you're in the water. It makes a huge difference. If your objective is to just dip and not actually put your face in the water and go for a swim, which is another game, then put on a nice warm woolen hat. Some women wear the neoprene gloves if you have your fingers are cold, and you can put neoprene boots on. It doesn't matter. Just to feel that cold water on your body is all you need. So if you have a hat on, great. I wear a hat in the winter, and it really makes a difference. So yeah, there you have it. So I wish you luck, and I would love to hear how your experience goes. So send me a line or write in the comments how it went, and go for it because it's a wonderful experience.